Hi, my name's Elizabeth McCulloch and welcome back to my First Time Gardener series. Today's video is going to be all about compost. I did some research so that I could prepare my bin for the season, and I'm going to share with you what I've learned today. I'm by no means an expert, but I do have some useful information that might be helpful for your own backyard. I have some weeding to do in the garden as well, so I figured I'd just share my knowledge with you while I'm pulling some weeds out back. So join me out there and we'll get started.
Do you like those? So compost itself is a combination of organic materials broken down to produce a nutrient-rich product that is great for a soil amendment or fertilizer in your garden beds, your raised beds, or even potted plants. There's a wide variety of material that can go into your compost bin or pile, but all of them kind of have the same key characteristics. So first you have your browns, which are carbon-heavy products like paper products, napkins, paper towels, dried leaves, and newspaper. And then your greens are nitrogen-centric products. So that's your kitchen scraps, fruits and vegetables, that's lawn clippings, chicken manure, indoor plant scraps. She's making me nervous. Hi, you're okay. The ideal ratio of browns to greens is 2 to 3 parts browns to 1 part greens. This will ensure that you have a good balance of nitrogen and carbon in your compost pile. So the organisms that are in your compost will actually use the nitrogen particles to break down the carbon. So if you have an excess or too little of one of those, it can prevent your compost from completing its decomposition process, and it can also cause an overload of one of those nutrients when it's added to the soil. I gotta go get my trowel. Okay, I couldn't find my trowel, so I'm gonna use a hammer instead. I just spilled my coffee. It's fine. So the most ideal size for a compost bin is one that's 3 by 3 by 3 feet. This will allow your compost pile to get large enough for that decomposition process to happen at a more efficient rate. So the more heat that there is to your compost pile, the faster that the decomposition happens. And this is because an exothermic reaction is occurring. When the organisms in your soil are breaking down the materials you've added, that chemical reaction causes heat to be released. And when your pile is large enough, that pressure is holding the heat inside, and in fact that pressure is helping that heat build even faster. So heat plus pressure will increase that temperature at a faster rate, and thus your decomposition is happening at a faster rate. So I'll be producing what's called unfinished compost. An unfinished compost can have the same benefits as a finished compost. It's just happening over an extended period of time. When my pile is large enough, I could use it as mulch over my garden bed, which means that that compost will be breaking down over time and providing that nutrition at a slower rate than if you were to add a finished compost to your soil as amendment, for instance. The unfinished compost I'm producing, I'll add to my soil at the end of the season as we go into fall and winter. And it'll break down through the fall and winter, and it'll fertilize my soil for the springtime. Okay. Now, if I were to add unfinished compost to my soil too early, it would rob my plants of the nitrogen that they need to thrive. So the unfinished product is still being broken down, and the nitrogen in the soil is going to focus on breaking down that material rather than being available for the plants to use. I don't want that to happen, thus I'll be adding my unfinished compost at the end of the season. So we have finished compost and unfinished compost, and then there's one more element there, and that's hot compost versus cold compost. With a hot compost, you occasionally are going through and mixing your pile. So you're turning it, you're taking the bottom, taking what's on the bottom, flipping it onto the top. And you're also wetting this compost regularly. Compost will get hot, and it will remain hot until the decomposition process has completed. Like I said, there's an exothermic reaction occurring when the decomposition process is in action. So once that heat is gone, you know that decomposition process has completed. Now, alternative to a hot compost is a cold compost. The cold compost is one where You have your compost pile and you're just piling and piling and piling and you're not mixing it. So the decomposition is still happening, but it's at a slower rate. So with my compost, like I said, it's not going to be large enough to create a finished product, but I am going to mix it up pretty regularly because I want some decomposition to happen. It's just not going to be completed compost at the end of the process. One final thing is how you actually add your materials to your compost bin. So there's different methods, but the one that I'm going to focus on is called the lasagna method. So this is one where you have your greens and then you pile your browns on top of that, and then you have another small pile of greens and then you pile your browns on top of that. So on the outside you will only have browns, but the inside is greens. So now that I've shared with you what I've learned about compost, I'll show you the bin that I'm working with this year. Okay, so this area down here with the structure is where I will be putting my compost pile. I'd say it's about 2 feet by 2 feet, so it's not quite the right size to produce a finished product, unfortunately, but that's okay because I'll be able to add the unfinished compost to my soil at the end of the season, like I said a little bit ago. Now what'll go in this bin is going to be mostly kitchen scraps. It'll be our wood shavings from the chicken's coop, it'll be their manure, it'll be our grass clippings, whatnot. I keep a gallon-sized glass jar under our sink to catch all of our kitchen scraps. Most of them come out to our chickens, but like my peels, banana peels, citrus peels, avocado skins, I don't give those to the chickens, so those will go directly in this bin. Then on top of this stand is a rain barrel. It's going to act as like a little water tower for our garden this year, which I'm pretty excited about. So I'll have to add some water to it because it's about to like tip over. It blew over the other day because there's no rain in there just yet. But it's going to be nice up there because I'll be able to water my garden from it, and I'll also be able to get the chickens' water out of there. We had this stand already. I believe it was constructed out of pallets. My husband found it with this rain barrel, so it was originally intended to be a stand for the rain barrel. I just added the planks that are around the bottom so that it's got 3 planks around the bottom, so it'll hold our scraps, but it'll also allow for some airflow. And I'll show you what I did to modify this stand.
There's really not much I have to do to get this stand ready for my purposes. So initially it was used as a stand for a rain barrel. All I'm going to have to do is tighten up some of the planks on there and add a couple around the bottom. So 2 of the planks I removed from the stand because they just weren't really where they necessarily needed to be. And then the other 4 planks I got from a pallet that my dad brought over for me. I've made it 3-sided, so I'll have easy access to the front. I'll be able to turn it easily, and I can even let the chickens in there if I want to. But there's a lot of different bins and styles that you can go with, and there's even some on the market that are just so much more convenient for a busy backyard gardener. They do a lot of the work for you. So I've already added 2 sides using the planks from the pallet, and now I'm adding the back side, which is going to be from the planks that I took off of this stand here. So there you have it, my rain barrel stand / compost bin. So I'll just pile up my scraps and my browns and all of that into the bottom portion of this, and it'll be contained by the planks around, and I'll have easy access to it because it is only 3-sided. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you're able to take something away and apply it to your own garden and your own compost. Hit that thumbs up button if you liked this video, and subscribe if you want to see what I'm doing next. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in the garden to get it ready for the plants to go in the ground. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.